The William and Mary Washington Center integrates academics and experiential learning to produce high-impact opportunities for all. For 20 years, we've facilitated meaningful connections and provided a place of belonging for the entire William and Mary community. As we celebrate William and Mary in Washington, we are bringing you monthly videos that celebrate the center's rich history and consider its future. DC is a great place to study, intern, and explore. Just ask our students. This month, hear from former DC Summer Institute students as they share memories about how their DC experience kickstarted their careers.
So thank you guys for joining us this morning. I'm really excited to talk to you all about your experience with the DC Summer Institutes and how it's kind of shaped your career and where you are now. So why don't we just kick off with some introductions. Tell us a little bit about who you are, when you graduated from William & Mary, and when you did the DC Summer Institutes.
Hi, my name is Kayla Shock. I'm a 2017 graduate of William & Mary, and I participated in the DC Summer Institute for New Media in 2015. While I was at the Institute, I interned at the Democratic National Committee in the Communications Office, and really enjoyed getting to know the city and getting to know my classmates.
Hi, I'm Katie Sharp. I graduated from the College of William & Mary in 2014, majoring in English and minoring in Literary and Cultural Studies. I did the DC Summer Institute in the summer of 2012. That was the first summer of the New Media Institute, which was really exciting to be part of that class. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right. My name is Madeline Bielski. I graduated from the college in 2017, and I also participated in the DC Summer Institute New Media program in the summer of 2015 with Kayla. And I interned with Diplomatic Courier, which is a global affairs magazine, during that summer. And I actually enjoyed the program so much, I came back and did the semester program in the spring of 2016.
Sorry, I forgot I didn't say I interned where I interned. So should I just do, you want me to do that again? It's kicking in. And I interned as a digital media intern at Animal Planet, kind of working on all things animalplanet.com, working on video, all sorts of stuff for their website. Yeah, so super happy to be here.
So obviously DCSI during the summer is comprised of like the two main parts, the course, that's the speaker and site visit series, and then the internship. So let's just start chronologically and talk about the speaker site visit course. What are your memories from that? What speakers or site visits really stood out to you? And what were your takeaways from that really like intense course during those 2 weeks?
I would say that the best site visit that we went on was to C-SPAN. We met two really great alumni who told us about the history of C-SPAN and how their work today helps to modernize the work that outlet is doing. And we also got to tour their offices and visit Washington Journal, which is one of the flagship broadcast shows. So it was really cool to actually get to be on set and to talk to some people who are really, veteran journalists in Washington, D.C.
So two that stood out to me was one, we went to see National Geographic, and I remember we got to sit in this like really elaborate, like huge boardroom, and there was kind of this like sense of, okay, cool, like this is a huge magazine. I never thought I'd be somewhere like this, especially like as an undergrad. Getting to kind of just like see the inside and see those offices was really, really eye-opening. And one of the other site visits that we did was we went to the Library of Congress Audio and Visual Preservation Center. That was this huge campus where basically at the site, they really focus on preserving old film, photographs. At the time, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, whether it was journalism or pursuing something down the video production route, but it definitely gave me an appreciation for film and video as a medium.
Yeah, so during my summer at the DC Summer Institutes, I think one of the site visits that I always think back on is visiting PBS NewsHour. Having watched that, like my entire life, to actually be there, like in their studio, seeing how it's made is pretty incredible. They even let us sit in the back of the production room for a second just to like see what it looked like when they were live. And that was just kind of like an invaluable experience and something like I'll always remember. Similarly, I went to William & Mary, not sure if I wanted to go into journalism or communications. All I knew is I love writing. I love the creative aspect of everything happening with new media, but I don't know what route I want to take. So the DC Summer Institutes really, I think, stepped in there and showed like so many pathways for, you know, those things that I was interested in.
My summer internship in 2015 was at the Democratic National Committee, which was a big summer and a big year for politics. So the coolest thing at interning at the DNC for me was that it helped me really understand the ecosystem of Washington, D.C. I was working with party politics, but I was also working with journalists. I was seeing what was going on the Hill every day, following hearings and legislation, and it really made me appreciate what happens in politics. So as I decided to shift my career from communications more towards journalism and pursue my career, it led me to really understanding what's happening in Washington and the importance of making sure that everyday people know what the lawmakers are doing and how legislation can affect their lives. So that's what really led me to my current role, which is at Politico, which is a policy and politics publication in Washington, D.C. I'm an engagement editor currently, so it's a role that helps me, use our social media to share messages with our audience to let them know what's happening in Washington. They can break down, they can ask questions of our reporters, they can engage with us and really see how politics affects their lives. And I think that important connection between politics and people and looking at the people in power is what came from my internship experience and my DCSI experience.
So my internship was at Animal Planet, which is part of Discovery Communications. When I was there, I was part of the digital media team. So I was a digital media intern, and that really came into focusing on everything to do with animalplanet.com. So this I basically helped with curating video on the site, helped with writing blogs and promotional materials for some of the shows. We also, I think one of the highlights of my internship was getting to be in the brainstorm rooms for Puppy Bowl, which is a puppy show that happens during the Super Bowl at the same time on Animal Planet. So obviously that was months before the actual Puppy Bowl happened, but it was one of their flagship series and they kick off a lot of the work for that over the summer. And it was a super, super great team. I had a team of all women. At the time, it was amazing to work and learn under such great leaders that time. So when I look back on that experience, I'm really grateful to have gotten that introduction and have worked with some really great women early in my career too.
All right, so for my internship, I interned with Diplomatic Courier, which is a global affairs magazine. So I essentially got to live my dream of being a reporter that summer. I worked out of the National Press Club every day, and my responsibilities were to go to different events happening around the city, report on them, as well as cover different international topics of interest. I was responsible for writing, a blog each week on a topic that I thought people needed to know more about. So really getting to have that much ownership as an intern over, what stories I was writing about was really exciting for me.
I think something I gained, is not a word, gleaned, sorry. So after my internship at Animal Planet, the next summer I interned at NPR Music with the NPR Music team, and I was a general music intern, and what I was really focused on was helping build out a lot of their articles for the site that they put on nprmusic.com. And sometimes that really meant listening to longer radio segments and figuring out how are we going to translate this from a radio segment basically to a written article. How are we going to synthesize some of the best points and make it digestible for something you would read online? So I think that a lot of the work that I had done with DCSI kind of helped me kind of jumpstart into that experience as well, because I understood that there's so many different impacts for different mediums. And you kind of have to be a little bit flexible to understand, okay, this is going to work in audio, but then you translate this to work in video, and then you translate this to work in editorial. So I think all that experience has led me to where I am now. I've been at Spotify for the last 2 years. I work as the social and content lead on the creator marketing team. So we really focus on Spotify from the artist experience rather than the consumer experience. So this means providing resources, data, analytics, and all sorts of other things to the artist community to sort of help them understand how best to use Spotify and how to grow their career.
One thing from the Summer Institutes that I think really helped jumpstart my career was, learning how to tell a story. I think storytelling is really something I thought about. I just thought about I like to write. I didn't specifically think about the fact that I like to tell stories. So during that internship, getting to cover so many different topics, getting to speak to so many people, I realized I wasn't just, putting their words on a page. I was telling a story about them or about that specific topic. And that kind of, shifted my thought process about what I wanted to do. I then kind of shifted from I just want to write to I want to tell stories about people, whether that was from journalism or in communications. So after graduation, I actually started working in the advertising industry, doing corporate communications for a global media agency brand. And in that role, I get to tell the stories of our employees. And that's something I've, kind of really found I'm passionate about, because that still carries over. I'm still getting to speak to different people, get to find out about their humanity, what their story is, and getting to tell that in a lot of different ways, which is something I also gained from the institutes, is realizing you can share a story through social media or in written form, video, podcasts, all of those things. And I'm still able to use those skills today. And if anything, I think they've really helped me grow in my career.
The best thing about the DC Summer Institutes is that they really encapsulate the college's overall interdisciplinary curriculum. So even if you're a student who's studying math or science or art history or anything, you can still find a home in one of the DC Summer Institutes. You can really find a way to tie your experiences to your overall liberal arts experience or to your field of study that's your major degree program. So I would encourage students to investigate the Washington Center, see what lies for you in Washington, D.C., reach out to the staff if you have questions. They're some of the most open and caring people that I've met on campus. So it's definitely worth applying. It's definitely worth investigating. And if anything, Washington, D.C., I'm biased because I'm from this area, but I think it's one of the coolest cities in the world to work, live, and play in. So definitely take that opportunity to expand your college experience for a semester or a summer or even a short program in Washington, D.C.
When I look back on my experience at the DCSI Institute and the work that the William and Mary Washington Center put into me, I really, really find it invaluable. Basically, I had a network of people who are ready to support me in my career path and were eager and willing to help me succeed and look for the right job. The Institute especially was something that gave me hands-on experience that I look back on at my classes at William & Mary, and I don't think I always got those in my classes, and the real world experience was something that definitely got me prepared for what was to come next with my career.
To anyone considering doing a program with the Washington Center, specifically DCSI, I would kind of just echo that sentiment and just say, do it. I think it's such a valuable experience. I think the real world learnings that you get from it will carry you so far. You'll learn things that you'll just never learn on campus when you're sitting in a classroom. It's truly things that, once you graduate and you are working, you'll still be looking back on that experience and drawing from it. So I would say from that perspective, it is completely worthwhile. Plus you get to be in DC, which is arguably one of the best cities in the world. And I don't even live there, so don't tell people in Chicago that I said that. I do love DC a lot. But it really is one of the most fun cities, especially in the summer. There's so many other interns from different universities that you get to meet. It's really such a fun culture in the summer, especially for interns.